Hey, good morning, 7th grade. How's it going? I had a couple things quick to show you about probability. So we've been talking about probability a lot. One thing I noticed we're having problems with is these things. This is called a fair number cube. Whoops. You guys also call them dice, right? Now in this drawing, you can only see the numbers 1, 2, and 3. But the back side of that same thing has the numbers 4, 5, and 6, okay? So a fair number cube is always numbered 1 through 6, and you have the same chances of landing on every side. That means it's not going to be a weird shaped number cube like this. It's not going to be nothing weird like that. It's going to be a cube, so it's the same chances of landing on each side, okay? So that's why they call it a fair number cube. Now you guys always see them as dice like this. They look something like that. It's the same thing, okay? But instead of the dots 1 through 6 on each side, it's actually got the numbers on there. So whenever you see those words, fair number cube, this is what they're talking about, okay? They're talking about one of these. They're all the same. That's one thing I wanted to talk about. And there's 6 sides on it, 1 through 6, okay? So the probability of rolling a 1 is 1 out of 6. The probability of rolling a 2 is 1 out of 6. Probability of rolling a 6 is 1 out of 6, okay? So they're all the same. They all have the same chances. All right, so the other thing I wanted to talk about is we've done some spinners. And our spinners kind of look like this, right? And spinners are used, you guys probably don't even play board games, but you would like flick the arrow and it would spin around and you would land on a number or a color or a letter or whatever, okay? So for this one, I'm just gonna use letters. And it may ask you, what's the probability of landing on A? You would say 1 out of 4. What's the probability of landing on D? 1 out of 4. Probability of landing on B? 1 out of 4, right? Probability of landing on B or C? 2 out of 4 or 1/2. So these spinners are pretty easy. And the reason they're easy is all the spots are the same size. Now where they get tricky, and I'm going to draw this one really big, so we kind of get the idea of it. Sorry if my circle's not very good. It's more like an egg. Pretend it's a circle. To pretend that Mr. Habercorn is neater than he is. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I already messed it up. Okay. So here's a different spinner. Now the thing with this spinner, there's 3 spots, but they're different sizes. So that makes it a little bit difficult. So if they asked you the probability of A, you're going to want to say 1 out of 3. That is not right. Because they're different. This one's, the A is way bigger than the B and C. So it's easier to land on A than it is to land on B or C, right? So what do we do? How do we figure this out? Now for me, the easiest way to do it is force it to have all the same size spaces, okay? So if this whole thing is A, what I like to do is cut it so that they're all the same size. Now those are both A, right? So it's taking the same amount of space as it did before. The only difference is I drew this extra line here, right? So that they're all the same. Once they're all the same, we can do what we did before. So now I could say, what's the probability of A? And I would say it's 2 out of 4, right? Or 1/2. And then I would put that as a decimal and as a percent, right? And as words. And if you look at it, it makes sense because half of this circle are A's, right? So it makes sense that it's 1/2 and that it's not 1/3 like it looked like, right? When we first saw it, it looked like A was 1/3, but it's not. It's actually half of the circle is A, right? So once I put this little line in here and say that this is A and this is A, we can see that it's 2 out of 4 or 1/2, okay? So that's just a one little tricky thing. So let's look at another one just like this. Another egg-looking circle. Okay, so on this spinner, what would the probability of red be? They were asking you the probability of red. And this is the same thing. It's not 1/3. It's certainly not 1/3. So what do I need to do? I need to make all the blocks the same size. So all I do is just do that, right? Now they're all the same size. And I can say, oh, how many are red? 1, 2 out of 4, right? Or 1/2 again. 25, 50%, right? Okay, good. So now looking at it, if I said, what is the probability of blue? I'm not going to say 1/3, because once they're all the same size, blue is actually 1/4, right? Okay, which is 0.25, 25%. Unlikely. Okay, good. So that's it for today. Spinners that are unique and all the shapes aren't the same exact size. So you have to force them to be the same size, then find your probabilities. Okay? So that's it for today. You guys have a good one and have a good weekend.